freedom and democracy will come to the world. I have faith in that, because everyone has the right to be who they are, where they are, when they are. And we all know that. We all know that. But it can't be forced the way it's being forced now. And so we're going to lose in Iraq because of that. That's my fear, that we're going to lose there. I have a hard time believing that we did what we did simply to liberate a nation and spread democracy. I feel in my heart that what was done out of revenge and done out of greed. And I don't know that. I can't know that, unfortunately. I don't even believe that if I sat down with President Bush and Vice President Cheney and had a beer at a bar with them, that I would come away knowing any more about why they chose to do what they did in the manner they chose to do it than I do now. I believe their ties to the oil industry almost create a conflict of interest. That they should have recused themselves from that decision simply because they stood to make money from a greater stake in the oil business in the Middle East. The companies that ended up in Iraq, the administration has ties to those companies that are helping to rebuild Iraq. Again, brings up notions for me of a conflict of interest. Also, knowing the great fear we all have of losing our lifestyle, our standard of living, which is based on fossil fuels. I could see that being a huge motivating factor for an administration. They wouldn't want to jeopardize the loss of that standard of living. I can understand that. But I also feel that there's this notion of revenge. President Bush's feelings got in the way. What happened to his father. And I'm not privy to the advice his father gave the son in the days leading up to, the months leading up to war with Iraq. This is what I would have done differently. Boy, I wish I could have done this. Or, I don't know how much of President Bush's decision-making process was affected by Bush Sr.'s advice. But I honestly believe that our motives were not the spread of freedom. I believe they were based out of revenge and greed. And seeing how we carried out the war, and seeing how we have carried out the Reconstruction, looking at the choices we've made, I don't see how there's really any room to honestly believe that we did what we did out of the goodness of our democratic hearts. I first thought about military service when I was 19, in 1990, when we went to liberate Kuwait. I supported the liberation of Kuwait. I felt that was something that we should do, and the rest of the world agreed, pretty much. The rest of the world thought that Iraq crossed that line, and we drew it. We took the country back, and there we go. And so over the course of the next 9-10 years, I went about my life and would think about that sort of stuff on occasion. And I woke up one morning and, oddly enough, the screensaver on Microsoft Windows 98 or whatever it was "Where do you want to go today?" It's what kept scrolling across the screen in big, bold, scarlet letters. And I had this immediate notion of, you want to join the Marine Corps? And that floored me. So I rolled over, I went back to bed, I turned off the computer and forgot about it for a couple of hours as I slept. And then I really started thinking about it. You know, where did that come from? Did it come from somewhere? Did you have some funky dream? And I had just bought property in Tennessee. So I owned land in America. I thought this was, if I was going to live anywhere in the world, this was probably, and raise children anywhere in the world, that in the end, opportunity is greatest here, and there's so much hope in America for so many people. We've been doing this for a long time now, and we've come to a lot of good places in our society. But I decided that I wanted to make this community my home for the rest of my life. And that's where that thought of joining the military came from. Responsibility to community. And I decided that before I truly settled down, that I would serve my community in that capacity because I had the capacity to do so. It was a call. I felt called as a member of the society because I was intelligent enough to understand what I was deciding to do, physically fit enough to handle that. Yeah, it was a call to serve. That's all it was. It's a different type of service, but it was a call to serve. You know, I'm proud of my service, and I'm proud to have that bond with the men that I have that bond with in the Marine Corps. And I don't regret serving in the military. I don't regret being a Marine. And I want to honor that. All these men and women are doing things at the behest of their nation. And it just needs to be right. When we send our children off to kill, it has to be moral. And I don't know that what we're doing is moral. I don't know that it's right or just anymore. And it has to be. It has to be.